Thanks for checking out Chamber Web TV. This is Cambridge Votes 2014, a conversation with the candidates for the upcoming October 27th municipal election. And I'm Greg DeRocher, President and CEO of the Cambridge Chamber of Commerce. And it's my pleasure to sit down with Regional Chair candidate Jay Aissa. Jay, how are you?
Good. How are you, Mike?
You're looking good.
Thank you very much. Yourself, too.
You actually look like you might have lost some weight in campaigning. Have you been out banging on doors?
Oh my God, you noticed that? Yeah, I did actually. Yeah, almost 18 pounds I lost. Working hard and doing lots of search and long hours.
It's fun though, isn't it?
It's a lot of fun. You know what? I come to realize how important it is to understand the community a lot more detail than I was in the business. Now I'm on this side and trying to understand how it flow, everything comes together. So.
But you know what? I don't know how many times I've said this to people. People say, well, government's not a business. Yeah, well, maybe it's not a business, but it should be run like a business to some degree. So,
I agree with you 100%. And what I've been doing in the last at least 4 or 5 weeks is reading everything in every article out there from the regional Waterloo and understanding the flow of how much we're spending and how much we're wasting and how much we're taxing is really shocking. If we had run our business like this, I'm telling you, we wouldn't be in business today. And that's my biggest concern.
yes, you would be. You'd be in business because you know what? You have captive customers as a government. You can just take the money away as often as you want, and as much as you want.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Because you know what? I don't have to do anything. All I have to do every month, I know money is coming, right?
The only difference is in business, you got to work for the customers. But Jay Aissa,
Yes.
I'm going to ask you the toughest question that you will ever be asked running for any public office anywhere. Why are you running?
The biggest thing I look why I'm running is stop wasting our tax money. Really, I do believe in that. And our biggest problem is spending without thinking, without a vision. I can see how the region councils lost their focus and now becoming a club of all these career politicians that they pat each other in the back. And that's my biggest concern in our region right now is we gotta stop this. And we gotta go change a little bit of things in there. We shouldn't let people run more than 2 or 3 term max. We got people down there running for almost 9 and 10 times. This is a huge, because believe me, Mark, you lose your freedom, you lose your voice, you lose your democracy when you have people staying there for a long time. And that's the concern, a huge concern, is for me. And that's
I think,
the reason
I've always said that most politicians, somehow along the way, they get there, and then they forget there's really only one core principal responsibility of a politician. The only reason that those positions were even created in the beginning was to be a steward of the public purse. You have to watch my dollars. You can kiss as many babies as you want. Go ahead and do that and shake as many hands, but boy, oh boy, you gotta look after my dollar.
And honestly, and that's the issue. And as running a business for 27 years, and before that, just to give you a heads up, I was in the manufacturing business and electroplating, and I used to manage that department. And it is very important. Is every day we're in is to make sure we're saving money, not wasting money. And with this region council we have right now, they're wasting lots of monies. And a good example, just a simple little example, I was challenging some of the candidates out there, is the green bins. In the business, when we do something new, we start slowly. We go step by step to continue doing that. And a green bin is a good example. The study came in and said, oh, you know what, we're going to create 20,000 tons worth of waste, right? And without thinking, the council voted to sign a deal with the city of Guelph for 10 years at 20,000. Then the Hamilton comes in and says, hey, wait a minute, you guys have no clue how much you're going to generate waste. Let's just pay as we go. We're going to charge you an extra $5, but you don't have to sign a contract. Well, because it's not their money, a normal business people will say, wait a minute, maybe I should go step by step and see what they're going to. They go ahead and sign 10 years contract with the city of Guelph. And guess what? They're not even generating 9,000 tons. So now we're subsidizing the green bin at 1.3 million. Now, you know what? If you look at it, did you really save or did you waste? And that's the problem running a government. And that's why I think we got a lot of saving we could do. This region, it doesn't have a problem of revenue. It's a problem of spending. And next biggest part of the spending is the waste part of it.
Yeah.
And that's the problem.
Well, speaking of that, we've got mounting debt. I actually had a candidate. I think I commonly have said, well, it's been in the papers the last few weeks that, regional debt is out of hand. It's nearly doubled. Actually, I had one of the candidates running for regional chair said, no, it's not doubled. It's almost tripled. It's almost tripled. By the end of the year, it's going to be $500 and some odd million, and that doesn't include LRT.
Correct. And that
So, what, Jay, as chair of the region, if you're elected, what are you going to do about this debt?
Well, I don't know if you noticed, I'm the one who's actually brought it over on my brochure, I put my platform on the brochure to tell them what I was thinking, how I was thinking. And you can see in this brochure that actually is going to triple according to Moody, and that's what Mr. Sealing liked to use the word Moody, is the AAA is actually will be $548 million. That's a huge jump. From 2009, we were 185 million to where we are today. Or by end of Christmas time, we'll be 548.
And does that 548 still not include the LRT?
That's not including LRT. The staff, or the projecting of the staff, were saying by 2023, listen to this for a second, is $1.6 billion in debt. If the way we're going, spending the money. It's 1.6 billion, not half a billion. Now we're going to be in the billions of dollars. As a one-tier of the government having that much debt, there's only one way you're going to pay that debt. And guess what? It's me and you and everybody around us is going to be paying that. So
and I don't like that.
Expecting the taxes.
I don't like that when it's a property tax vehicle that's using it to pay the debt, because property tax is the most unfair tax system there is on the planet Earth. It's on the perceived ability to pay, not the ability to pay. So that scares me. That scares me.
And now think about it. Now you're running a business and you're paying taxes. So if you look at this down the road, let's just zoom in five years from now or 8 years from now, adding 25% on your taxes, and then add the hydro part, and then I add the water, because the water and
Let's
the waste.
stop right there.
You know what? And they're saying, why we don't have enough manufacturing in this region? Well, take a look. Yeah. We're not competing.
I know. And one way where that can happen, though, is if we create dynamic prosperity in the region of Waterloo. Right now, this municipalities, along with the region, are looking at creating a new type of economic development corporation that's kind of arm's length from government, more private sector driven, which is good. We have CTT right now that does foreign direct investment, but very much tied to government. However, where our concern is, a little bit, we understand this global thing, and we understand we need to be plugged in all together to make this whole economic development thing work. But where our concern a little bit is, Jay, coming from Cambridge's perspective, is that there's going to have to be a real concerted effort along the LRT line to do economic development. We need, if we're going to get it, we need to make sure that it works. So we need to attract investment along there. We need to build up that corridor so that it's a profit center from a perspective as good as it can possibly be for public transportation. Cambridge is sitting here saying, well, we're an industrial community. We're not, you're not going to put LRT out in the industrial subdivisions. It's not going to attract any industrial investment necessarily. And if you're going to be putting all your attention there, how is Cambridge going to get a benefit out of this regional economic development corporation? How would you make sure Cambridge got its attention?
Well, you know what, one of the bigger things I look at Cambridge is a corridor of 401, and that's the key for any businesses actually who ship stuff on the 401. You have to be on that corridor. So the bigger thing you need is you're going to need some experience, some labor to come in down to Cambridge. And one of the biggest things I was looking at is the GO Transit. Actually, that will help Cambridge 10 times better than LRT. I think even Kitchener-Waterloo, they're going to drive over to Cambridge and park and jump on the GO Transit. That's where their money should be going to, is to GO Transit down and more often trip to Toronto. Mm-hmm. And one of them, myself, I go to a lot of downtown Toronto, and you know what? I don't like driving. If I have an option to take a GO Transit, it's going to take me an hour and 15 minutes, and then I'm downtown Toronto, I'll be the first guy to do it.
Well, and that begs the question. We've been I've used the term fighting for LRT or for Go. We haven't been fighting for it. We've been advocating for it for over 30 years, with no success. It's great that Kitchener has Go service. It's great, even better, that the Premier's come along and said, I promise two-way all day. It's great that now we've got a government that's stable in Toronto. Doesn't matter your flavor, it's stable. We've got an MPP here in Cambridge who's part of that government. Now is our chance to cash in on Go. You know, the south end of Kitchener and Cambridge aren't going to drive up into Kitchener to jump on that Go and take a 2-hour and 10-minute ride.
That's right.
It needs to be down here. What would you do as regional chair to make sure it happens?
Well, you know what, after October 27, and I do that, make sure that you're aware, after October 27, I will make sure that will happen to come to Cambridge. I think as a business vision, as owner of a business, it's the key important part to bring the GO Transit to Cambridge. Because if you look at it when it goes to Kitchener, it's about 2 hours and 15 minutes. If we move it down to Cambridge, it's an hour and 5 minutes. So if you do those math, that's saving me an hour to drive.
Yeah.
You know what? And that's, to me, that's the key. That's a simple thing. That's why I'll be what I call the middleman between the government and the city of Cambridge to make sure Cambridge will get the GO Transit first to improve the transportation down in Cambridge. And we need the Cambridge to be part of the whole region, not partial of the region.
Well, it's interesting, and you mentioned LRT earlier. I mentioned LRT. Everybody knows Jay from Jay Fencing, who is stopped the LRT. Just to let you know, you probably maybe know this, but if you don't, the Cambridge Chamber of Commerce was opposed to LRT. We made presentations opposed, largely not because we don't believe in public transportation. We just thought it was the wrong technology at the wrong time. And the fact we had to pay for it when there was no strategy on how it was ever going to get here. That said, we've had experts actually say to us, I don't know why Cambridge would even want the LRT. You're not that kind of community. But, that said, Hespeler Road is a great spot to put an LRT that's just primed to be redeveloped. Would you try and advocate to bring it here, or would you say, you know what, let happen what happened?
You know what? I'm not a believer in LRT. The reason is why is I think the train is designed to bring people from outside the city to inside the city, not within the city to bring it in and out. That's why the flexibility part of it is not there. It's an old technology, right? And why do we want to go investment in something? It's a simple, Mark. If I come in and tell you, I said, you know what? I got 20 years cars. I would like you to pay $20,000 for it, or I'm going to give you a brand new car for $20,000, car. And when you look at it and saying, you know what, for a gas efficiency, for environmentally, which one was going to be the best? I will take the new one for 20 grand. It's the same thing with the buses and the train.
Yeah.
And I agree with the expert when they say, why you're fighting for our
I know.
And when I listen to all this, and John Shortree is one of the...
Well, John was the one who said it to us. He says, I don't know why Cambridge would even want it.
And I was in that meeting, at that debate at that Waterloo region, when he looked at Doug Gregg and said to him, I don't understand why you're fighting for it.
Yeah.
Well, let him have it. Don't waste your energy on it.
Well, I think we kind of said that. We said, hey, we don't have any problem with you, Kitchener, Waterloo having it. Go ahead, knock yourselves out. But
exactly.
We just don't see it's ever going to be here. But anyway,
it never will be here. I promise you. The way they were going with the deficit and everything else.
However, you know what? God bless democracy. It happened, it prevailed, and that's the way it's got to be. But one other thing about transportation I want to get to because we're getting a little long, and you're a great conversationalist, by the way. But our regional airport, international airport, I love it. I use it all the time, in spite of the fact that if you have to take an American Airlines flight, you got to fly into O'Hare. However, you know what I found about O'Hare? Have you used it?
Of course.
They got great burgers in O'Hare. Oh my God!
Great restaurants.
Oh my God! You know what? People say, "Oh, they're scared of O'Hare." I said, "No. It's an awesome airport, and the best thing about it is they got great burgers."
Yeah, exactly.
So I always make sure I got about an hour and a half, so I can make sure I have my burger. But that said, we need more. We need more. The region looked at at options for the airport going forward. We put $6 million into it now, 6.4 million of taxpayers' money
Every year.
every year. So the idea would be, our idea would be to mitigate that. The region deferred this or put it on hold or whatever, but they had 4 options. First one, do nothing. Option 2, do nothing except paint the outside of the building. I say that facetiously. It was a little bit like that, but basically that's what it was. Option 3, though, was interesting.
Uh-huh.
And I thought it was really interesting because it provided expansion of the airport, it provided opportunity for maybe attracting new airlines, but it brought in the private sector dimension that said, let's mitigate the taxpayers' responsibility here. Let's bring in the private sector to grow our airport. And why? I could not believe why regional council put that on hold. They were afraid, well, we don't want to expand, that's really expensive. Wait a minute. It's talking about private sector money, not your money. It's talking about saving me money as a taxpayer. What do you think of that?
Well, if you had watched my Roger debate, you will notice that I said one of the first things, stop, let's look at it and see how we're going to make it easier for a taxpayer. Because we are not a machine printing money.
No,
at $6.4 million every year giving it away and trying to figure out. And the reason why is the council, the Waterloo Council lost the focus, lost their vision, lost what they have to work on it. And if you look, and I'm not going to point a finger, but what I'm saying is if you look at since 2009, every focus, it was on LRT. They lost the rest of the focus. They lost the airport. They lost Iron Needle. They lost Greenbin. The buses going to Elmira. It's not only one problem. It's a lot of problems that the region councils never actually looked into it very deeply and say, hey, let's fix one at a time and focus trying to solve it. But they put all their energy in LRT and they forgot about everything. I think the solution for the airport is to expand it and make it international. But now you're going to have a problem. I'm going to tell you right now, and I want to go public on this one too. The region went ahead and put all these houses around the airport. So now, if you got to try to make it international and expand, now you got to deal with the public that is around that we built. We built almost 3,000 houses around the airport. So, where's the vision here? Where did we lost the contacts here? And that's the problem. So if you say no, you're going to upset all the people who actually use the airport. If you say yes, you're going to upset the 3,000 people that live around it. So the option here, you got to come with a solution. And the solution is to figure out how we can put the runway in a different direction to eliminate the noise, to make the people happy in Chicopee. Because I walked through and I talked to lots of people. Chicopee, Hayden Valley, they're all filing complaint, doing this. And you know what? It's just a matter of time now. Brazza is going to be coming and saying, you know what? Now is the voice is all about volume. It's about how many voices you're going to have there. So I think we got to, when I get elected, that's the first thing I would like to look into is to take care of that 6.4 because we can save that money and make it privatized. I think we'll save a lot of money and invest that money in affordable housing. There's a lot of people waiting for affordable housing. Homeless, we're closing lots of homeless shelters, the cold shelters. You know what? The churches is not a responsibility to look after the cold shelter. It's we as a region, Waterloo, to look after our own people and not the churches. Yes, great to have the churches as a backup support, but not as a main support.
There's some neat things you've probably seen them all online too. They use shipping containers, and create almost like little condominium. That looks kind of cool. There's some pretty creative people in the world.
Well, and there's a lot of
we
great
need to look
ideas.
outside this region and see those creative solutions.
So I don't know if you know, I travel all the way to Windsor and I travel all the way to Manitoba border, and I as a business owner, we always looking for an opportunity and ideas out there. There's lots of great ideas that we can amalgamate in our region and improve our way our society is living around here. It slowly is becoming a gridlock in our traffic, and what they're trying to do is let's jump the street to force people to use the train on the buses. To me, that's wow. You know what? Wait a minute. Just look for a second. You don't force that. What do you need to do? Improve your transportation. Make the buses travel faster to take time off your
I love my car.
Exactly. Well, you know what,
I love my car.
Mark, I do love my car,
Yeah.
but if I tell you, if you take a bus now, it's going to take you an hour and a half to get you to your office, you're going to say never.
No.
But if I make this an hour and a half to 20 minutes.
Yep.
Now you're gonna say, hey, you know what?
I
Maybe
know.
it's not a bad idea.
I
I
know.
can use a bus now.
Jay Asa, what's your Waterloo region look like in 25 years?
I think it's going to be wonderful. If I be there, I'm going to be elected on October 27, and I think we're going to see a lot of electrical car, electrical buses, and hopefully a lot of white street to make sure that future subways will be in the place, or motorway.
There you go, folks. You heard it right here on Chamber Web TV. By the way, thanks for tuning in again. It's Cambridge Votes 2014, a conversation with the candidates for the October 27th municipal election. Again, I'm Greg DeRocher, and it's been my pleasure to sit down with Regional Chair candidate Jay Aissa. Jay?
Thank you very much.